Hi, this is Victor and this is Survive episode number 7. And folks, just to recap the events of the previous vlog, the aircraft in which John Taylor was flying has been shot down. This accident occurs in the Atlantic Ocean and we see John Taylor recovering from a coma in company with a Dr. Vivian Insidor and Julia Elise, the 25-year-old female lady he had gotten acquainted with in the aircraft just before the accident occurred. Now, to this very moment, we have come to appreciate that Julia Elise is John Taylor's girlfriend, and she survived unscathed. But what this accident does to John Taylor is beyond our own imaginations. Vivian Insidor reconstructs John's skull, which is fractured, and that takes him basically 9 months to heal. And that leaves him with a medical condition called retrograde amnesia, certainly because of the hand trauma he had experienced during the accident. Now, for those who have watched Martin Damon, the protagonist in the movie The Bourne Identity, you might have a slight idea of what retrograde amnesia is. Basically, retrograde amnesia refers to the memory loss of the events which occurred before the brain damage, and it's due to damage to the frontal lobe and the prefrontal cortex. And because of interruptions to the consolidation process, victims will permanently forget the events that occurred immediately before the accident due to interruptions of these processes. So I'm gonna pick up from where we left in the previous vlog. It's 9 years later. Harvard Medical School, 25 Shattuck Street, Boston, MA. Whether these lines should convey the secrets of a checkered existence to stimulate disclosure of events relating to my strange past or not, I hardly care a straw. I'm obliged to embrace this moment of truth as a cool and humid afternoon of the 22nd September of 2009. Bolt erect and in a cheerful mood, I adjusted my gown and stalked about the Golden Hall Student Registration Center. With me were a throng of fellow graduates who had found the genius with respect to my dissecting abilities so amusing they wouldn't help harping upon the exponent thrills of those cases of surgery we had experienced. My excitement fever, I confirmed stupidly, had, for reasons I wouldn't tell, shut me up in the tremendous league I had won against man and medicine. By the by, the stress and strains of the past few weeks were whimsical enough to be joked about in lovely medical delicacies. Yet, what psychological upheavals I had suffered from breakfasting with cadavers and crushing demonic notes of anatomy against the window to my apartment in the wee hours is not to be graced with any significant illustration of joy. But by any exercise of ingenuity, that was the kind of obvious amusement I wouldn't stomach. I suspended my excitement in the noisome claim of how, after all, I was fished out of the Atlantic Ocean from a plane wreck 9 years ago, and ventured to mention a Dr. Vivian Insidor who had remolded my skull thereafter, remembering very little of the state of emergency on that fateful day, what I begged no excuse for calling unpleasant and miserable, for death had whispered upon my ears. Now, upon the end of graduation, I grabbed the M2 Cambridge Harvard shuttle to Vanderbilt Hall on 107 Lois Pasteur. My roommate, his name was Daniel, an ill-tempered, clumsy fellow from Texas, was already gone, taking my newest pair of underwear with him. If I had begun with an appetite for beer, Mr. Daniel, who was borderline schizophrenic and a cross-dresser, with a penchant for wearing bow ties, would have messed it up. So in quietude, my other roommate, whose name was Dr. David Block, a terrible womanizer from Detroit, quickly packed up his bags to alarming capacities. Nettled, I sat gazing out the window. My eyes stung my girlfriend Julia, who, as well, appeared to have been staring in my direction within hail distance inside her apartment at the second floor of the women's campus across the parking yard. I sprang to my feet, spun around, and began packing my internship situation at Johns Hopkins, guaranteed. Then, in his usual paroxysm of haste, my buddy Dr. David Kessler, who I had diagnosed with a rare case of kleptomania, stormed into the room, and he said hi, tossed me a khaki envelope, I beg your pardon, and left in a hocus-pocus rehearsal of some med stuff that passed my ear without inquiry. I grabbed it and tore it up in stolid silence. Drawing the white piece, that is the white letter in the envelope, I withdrew a few paces and jolted my back upon the windowsill sill. A quick eye pursued over the contents of the letter. Scanning over the opening remarks, I hurriedly understood the first paragraph, but then the salutation of the letter and the body of the particular letter were far from what I had expected. So just before my sign-out mode, appreciate that the events that might have occurred during John Taylor's studies at Harvard Medical School have been left out intentionally so the reader toys about with the demons of his own imaginations. So that said, it's the 22nd of September 2009, and this date marks John Taylor's graduation at Harvard Medical School. And I will reiterate that his internship situation at Johns Hopkins has been secured. But his girlfriend, though, that is Julia, doesn't know whether he's leaving. What happens next? Stay tuned to the next episode and let's find that out.